Before everything changed, my life was as predictable as the ticking of a clock. Every weekday morning, I left my small apartment in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, at exactly 7:15 a.m., coffee in hand, hair pulled back, blazer neatly pressed. I'd walk the same 3 blocks to the marketing firm where I'd been working for the past 7 years. I knew my job inside out, the clients, the campaigns, the yearly cycles of work. My boss, Mr. Palmer, was predictable too. The kind of man who liked charts more than people and who would rather send an email than walk 10 feet to speak to you. There was nothing wrong with my life. But there was nothing extraordinary about it either. I had friends I saw occasionally, a family I called on Sundays, and a list of things I'll do someday that grew longer each year. It started with an email. I was sitting at my desk late on a rainy Thursday, scrolling through the day's messages. Buried between client updates and office memos was a subject line that caught my eye. Marketing Director position, Coastal Green Initiative. It was from Megan Lewis, a college friend I hadn't spoken to in years. The message was short. Hey Emily, I know you've been in marketing for a while now. There's an opening here at Coastal Green, and I immediately thought of you. It's in Portland, Maine, big role, bigger mission. Think about it. I clicked the link. The company was a nonprofit working on renewable energy projects. The position came with responsibilities I'd only dreamed of. Leading campaigns, traveling for conferences, shaping public outreach. But it also meant leaving everything I knew, my city, my friends, my stability, for a coastal town I'd never lived in. I closed the tab. That weekend, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I walked through the farmer's market Saturday morning, buying apples and flowers like I always did, but it all felt smaller somehow. Like I was looking at my life through glass. I tried to picture myself in Portland. I saw the ocean, the fishing boats, the salt in the air. I saw new streets, new faces, a new rhythm of life. And then the fear crept in. What if I failed? What if I hated it? What if I gave up everything for nothing? That night, I called my mom. She listened quietly as I rambled through my doubts. When I finally stopped, she said, Emily, sometimes the safe choice is the riskiest one of all. Because you risk staying exactly where you are forever. I sent in my application Sunday night. By Wednesday, I was on a Zoom call with the Coastal Green hiring panel. They asked about my experience, my leadership style, my vision for their brand. I spoke with a confidence I didn't know I had. Afterward, Megan called me. They loved you, she said. Expect an offer. When it came, higher pay, more responsibility, and a relocation package, I stared at the contract for hours. The choice wasn't just about a job. It was about who I wanted to be. I could stay in Harrisburg, keep my apartment, keep my routines, and keep wondering, what if? Or I could go, risk the comfort I'd built for the possibility of something bigger. I signed the contract. 3 weeks later, I was driving north in a rented SUV, my belongings packed into boxes. Harrisburg faded in the rearview mirror, replaced by winding roads and glimpses of the Atlantic. Portland was colder than I expected, but beautiful. Cobblestone streets lined with cafes and bookstores, working harbors where fishermen hauled in the day's catch, lighthouses standing against the wind. My new apartment overlooked the water. The first night, I stood by the window, watching the tide roll in, and felt both terrified and alive. The honeymoon period ended quickly. At Coastal Green, I was suddenly in charge of a team of 12, each with strong opinions and different working styles. The first campaign I launched stalled halfway due to budget issues. I was waking up at 5 a.m., juggling conference calls, and questioning whether I'd made a massive mistake. One Friday, after a particularly grueling week, Megan and I met for coffee. I told her I felt in over my head. She smiled. Good. That means you're growing. You didn't come here to play it safe. 2 months in, we were preparing a campaign for a new offshore wind project. I pitched an idea. Instead of just promoting the project, we'd highlight the people whose lives it would change. Fishermen, local business owners, families. It was a gamble, but the board approved it. We spent weeks gathering stories, filming interviews, and capturing the rugged beauty of the coast. When the campaign launched, it went viral. Donations doubled. National media called. For the first time, I felt like I was exactly where I was meant to be. That success opened doors. I was invited to speak at a conference in Boston. I met leaders from other nonprofits. I was no longer the new director from out of town. I was part of the community. Outside of work, I joined a weekend hiking group, learned to kayak, and spent long evenings at the harbor watching sunsets with new friends. One crisp autumn night, I realized I hadn't thought about Harrisburg in weeks. A year later, I returned to Harrisburg for a visit. Everything was the same streets, the same shops, the same quiet routine. I had coffee with my old coworkers, and when they asked how Portland was, I found myself smiling in a way I hadn't in years. It's home now, I said simply. The choice to leave wasn't easy. It meant saying goodbye to safety and certainty. But it also meant saying hello to growth, challenge, and purpose. When I look at my life now, the people I've met, the work I've done, the places I've seen, I realize that single choice didn't just change my job. It changed me. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. The biggest changes start with one brave yes.